Good afternoon on what is a warm, bright, but blustery day. It is Sunday the 21st of September and I'm in the reading up with a nice hot cup of tea. And a box to continue unboxing. And what I've got in here is a copy of Pavane by Keith Roberts. This is part of the SF Masterworks series. So that series essentially collects and reprints what are regarded classics of the genre. And this is, I'm not to tell you which one it is in the series, but 1588, Queen Elizabeth is felled by an assassin's bullet. Within the week, the Spanish Armada sets sail and its victory changes the course of history. 1968, England is still dominated by the Church of Rome. There are no telephones, no television, no nuclear power. As Catholicism and the Inquisition tighten their grip, rebellion is stirring. So this is an alternate history novel, or rather a collection of short stories originally published in the science fiction magazine Impulse, but brought together in one book and given with an extra story and a coda at the end that show the sowing of the seeds of rebellion in late 20th century in this alternate history in which the Church of Rome dominates the world and, as becomes apparent, has repressed the rise of technology so that Richie, they don't use petrol as a fuel. It's all steam. Including great. The first couple of stories are kind of first stories relate around basically great sort of like land trains driven by steam locomotives, and this goes back and forth across the roads of Dorset. And this really is a book that is set in the landscape of Dorset. And if you know the county at all, as I do, you can sit and read this, and you will recognise locations. And I'm able to visualise some of these locations, knowing them as reasonably well as I do. So we have basic recommendations, but it's a few. Couple of blurbs, and then full list of the work of Keith Roberts. Dedication and credits. And then the prologue, which sets things up with the assassination of Elizabeth I, which essentially what happens is she is felled by a young Catholic's bullet, and the Protestants of England rise up in fury against the remaining Catholics, which weakens the Protestant response to the Spanish Armada, and England falls. And ever since, she has been in the grip of Rome, and essentially Protestantism has been scoured from the world. So it is, and the thing about this is that it's divided into six long chapters that are intended to suggest that a dance with sort of like with history, with an alternate history, with rebellion and responsibilities, and progress and so on, and Pavane it being a medieval dance, such that this is sort of like an anachronistic sort of semi-medieval world still. That hasn't advanced very far, and each has this symbol ahead of it, and this first part is dealing with the essentially with the great steam locomotives, the land trains hauling cargoes back and forth. And the second introduces the signal to second measure introduces the Signalling Guild, which through its sort of like ordained power and influence and almost essentially a sense of isolation and protection, actually can carry on things in secret. Kind of hints at this, and that becomes apparent at the end of the book. The third measure is the White Boat, in which a peasant girl becomes fascinated by a strange boat which keeps sailing into the South Dorset coast. I think somewhere near Lyme Regis, with its famous cliffs full of fossils. Brother John is is a member of an order, monk order, that specialises in printing, and how he falls from Catholic grace, becomes a possible heretic, basically seen as a heretic, but a prophet to others, and a voice of rebellion after witnessing the full fury of the Catholic Church and being asked to record it as an artist. And then, lords and ladies, we come to essentially the section on the character, but return to sort of like the first characters in the book, and essentially part of their family who inherits the steam haulage and becomes wife to the local lord, the Lords of Purbeck, one of the most powerful families in England, who of fealty to King Charles in Londinium and so on. And there's also a sense in here that the past hasn't much changed, and also that there is much also things going on. The old ones, the fairies, may still exist, sort of like revered by the peasant folk of the county. And it's interesting that this sort of switches to sort of like the lords and ladies, based at Corfe Castle, which you can still visit. It's essentially, Purbeck is as an area is really only bisected by one line of hills, and that's broken at a gap where Corfe, village of Corfe is, which sits beneath Corfe Castle. And the ruins are still there. You can go visit them. It's not. I have to be honest. It's not the most interesting of castles to visit. It's but it's nice enough. You get a fantastic view of there over down towards Swanage and to the coast and so on. But it was slighted, i.e., reduced to uselessness following the English Civil War. And in the last part, you actually have Corfe Gate. This is when England rises up in open rebellion because of the inability, in a small way, of the Catholic Church to change and that brings about rebellion. Brought about essentially because of a tax that couldn't be paid because the region doesn't grow, essentially, doesn't produce that produce which was part of the tax payment, which would utter ridiculousness. So essentially, it's sort of like Al Capone being brought low by his tax records. Coda is the final section, and sort of like a commentary a bit later of how England has changed, how the world has changed as a result of the rebellion that comes at the end of this book. And this is it's one of the sort of the key, regarded as one of the key works of alternate history. bit like is it Ward Moore's Come the Jubilee, which deals with the American Civil War. In part because essentially the other thing is that there are common in science fiction and alternate history, there are any number of inflection points where that are common enough that you go, okay, if history went another way from this point, what would happen? And the Spanish Armada being successful in 1588 is one of them. So, as I say, this is part of my book club reading list. It's not my next one, it's the one after, because I'm ahead. Previous one was Night Watch by Terry Pratchett, and I'm sort of like, I just got on and started reading because I wanted to read something that's a bit changed from other my normal reading, which is role-playing books to review. But yes, I do recommend this. The language is a delight, and also I really like the sense of place to this. If you know Dorset at all, it really does bring it alive. And for me, it helps imagine this alternate world. So that's Pavane by Keith Roberts. Do hope you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you did, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box, typically containing a role-playing game, supplement or scenario, or in this case, an alternate history novel, which I will then unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, or of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.